Hello, everybody. How's it going? I am back for another painting live stream on December the 1st. It is officially the greatest season of the year.
Yes.
Especially Hunter is here with me. This is his favorite time of the year, too, for
It
sure.
is.
And it is also a time for CARnage. If you didn't know, that's kind of what we're here to promote. That is our weapon STL Kickstarter that we have up right now. Printable weapon, 3D printable weapon STLs for Car Wars, for any miniatures game you want. It also has 4 new cars. It has Rex. It has all the old cars, STLs of them, all the ones from all the various miniature sets and the core game. And it has just a few random weird accessories too. It's got Hunter's favorite, the slab. It's got other random stuff like spoilers, some stuff that's just for looks, doesn't really have any game rules, giant exhausts, all sorts of cool stuff like that. And I'm going to be painting some of the weapons for that today. We got one on the turntable right now. Yep, there we go. All right, so we flipped over like literally the worst possible angle. So as it rotates, this is the side that's going to face the car. So there's not that much going on. You can see a little nubbin with the ID number there for whatever that's worth. And I believe this is a lightning scythe, guys, in the studio.
I actually don't know offhand. I'm
You
sorry.
don't know offhand, is anybody?
I'm not very good at identifying Car Wars. I know Car Wars
Maybe
weapons
we
by
have-
like their shooty or their bladey,
Right.
but I don't know. I don't know what they shoot.
Maybe we have some super Car Wars fans in the audience that'll
Well,
know.
Jimmy's got the vehicle guide out, so he's going to try to find out what it is.
Off the top of my head, see, the problem with the vehicle guide, I think it shows them by the car. So I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
they
off the top of my
also-
head what car
They
has it.
equiped them with the weapons that the car has.
Right.
So it may, if we
So
can
you
find
gotta
one that
find the
matches
car
it.
that. Anyway.
Yeah. Very technical stuff going on.
But
here.
yeah, there's over 80 of them right now. If you go to the Kickstarter page, the header says over 50. Well, it is still over 50, but now it's also over 80.
Lots of stretch goals.
Yeah, lots of stretch goals. It's been going a lot better than we thought. And plus, it's got lots of add-ons, so you can add on all sorts of physical stuff, all the Car Wars stuff you might need. And yeah, so this is a painting stream. So weapons are a great time to talk about non-metallic metals painting. As many of you probably know, if you're watching a painting stream, non-metallic metals, that refers to creating the illusion of a metallic effect without actually using metallic paint. So obviously metallic paint has little flecks of metal in it. It shines under the light, just like real metal. Non-metallic paint, you're going to try to fake that using highlights, shading, da-da-da-da, etc., etc. So if you go back to the turntable, can we pause it? Let me just like stop it for a second.
It has a button on the side.
Yep, it does.
There you go.
So one of the ways that I got a handle on painting on metallic metal is just by looking at examples of metallic objects. So this one has kind of a few components. It's got a tube for the barrel, and it's got kind of a box in the back. Tubes usually are going to have a big, strong line of highlight down the middle, which I've kind of tried to do there. And then also, and I don't know if I got to that on this one yet, because this was in the middle. They'll also have kind of a line of reflected light along the bottom. So I'm going to try to work on some of that here. I've got 6 weapons that I brought along. It's a decent fun mix. I have another one of what we're still trying to identify as a possible lightning scythe. I've got a twin machine gun. This is another one we might need to look up, Jimmy.
So the weapon looks like it's definitely off the butcher on the car that it's on.
Okay.
And depending on which build that is, it looks like it's probably one of the slug weapons, either a
So it's
recoilless rifle
completely,
or a jackhammer, possibly.
completely
Oh, that looks like a
off.
recoilless rifle, actually. You're right. That
Okay, I
makes
thought
sense.
the recoilless rifle was like a totally different thing, but that's
It's
fine.
pretty long, so that would make sense.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it does. Okay, well, it's clearly not lightning anything if that illustration is any indication, because it just looks like a gun shooting bullets.
Yeah, it just shoots. It just shoots.
Yeah, it looks like it's one of the slug weapons.
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay.
I want to mention while Ben is getting everything.
Jean's in the chat. She says it's the lightning site.
Oh, see?
Oh, then there we go.
But I don't. Well,
We didn't see that earlier because I was having some
Thanks, Gene.
issues.
We lost chat for a second.
I mean, the truth
Yeah.
is, it doesn't really matter. You can put it wherever you want on whichever car, and you can say it does whatever you want.
And it doesn't have to be on. So we do have STLs for the original cars and for some new cars that are kind of like blanks essentially. But these are perfect for customizing other. Generally, the scale is like one and 64th essentially. So that's like Hot Wheels ish, Matchbox ish scales type stuff.
Yep.
So if you have something for that, it doesn't have to be for Car Wars even. If you want to, I know we've had a lot of Gaslands players that are getting into the Kickstarter. Hopefully checking out Car Wars as well. But you know, it's cool little bits. They don't have to be. They're technically agnostic. We call them CARnage, not Car Wars weapons, and have to be used with Car Wars. So you know, throw them on some tanks in a war game. Throw them on. Ben mentioned Weird War. Do some bolt action minis with some weird futuristic weapons.
Do like something very sci-fi looking, like this.
Yeah,
and this
Battletech?
is another one. I believe this is a disruptor. I don't know if Jean's in chat. She can agree or not agree.
That definitely looks like one of the laser shock weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also want to mention some other cool stuff we got going on while Ben's getting kind of the palette arranged. That's a cool color. What color is that?
Snow blue.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
It's like snow other blue.
Well,
Is it?
we're gonna
Wah, wah.
mute Ben for a little while. No, we do have a few things going on right now.
I regret nothing.
We mentioned the Kickstarter. That's actually over 700 backers now, which is awesome. I think it's actually well over 700 backers. And we've got the dice store that opened up for those of you that are into like different RPGs, tabletop games, stuff like that.
Shiny math rocks.
Yeah, we have lots of shiny math rocks, as Jimmy says. It also a lot of it's tons of new sets of dice. Actually, this is one of our biggest ones. Yeah, we have all of the Munchkin polyhedral sets out. So if you're into like D&D stuff like that uses polyhedral dice. Oops, sorry,
Maybe
that is an
mine-
Amber Alert.
Oh yeah, that's what my phone was just doing.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't mute. It won't mute Amber Alerts for some reason. So the polyhedral sets are out. Those come with Munchkin promos. We have finished off the Ocean dice sets, which are out there. The Bad Luck die. I know people were looking forward to that one, and the Seven Deadly Sins die, and the Elder Futhark die, which is essentially like a Norse version of the Zodiac die. I think it's actually a little bit bigger. Has its own little booklet to help you create characters, so that's a really cool one.
Nice.
It's like
yeah.
rune casting in
Yes.
dice form.
Yep. The weather dice, all sorts of different custom dice. Check that out. We have that going on. The Black Friday / holiday sale. We call it the Black Friday sale, but it really just lasts throughout December pretty much on Warehouse 23, where you get discounts on games, plus you get freebies. And it's stacking like we normally do. So essentially you spend $20, you get a freebie along with your order, in addition to all the promos and stuff we normally send. And then the more you spend, the more stuff you get. There's like Munchkin mini expansions, free dice sets, all sorts of stuff like that. And the more you spend, it stacks all those freebies together. So you're pretty much getting a whole box of extra free stuff when you do an order with us now. So worth checking that out. And a huge launch today, which we're really excited for. Munchkin Digital just went into early access on Steam about an hour or two ago.
So tell us what that's all about.
So this is by Direwolf Digital. One of our most requested things over the years has been play Munchkin online. When can I play Munchkin online with people? Like a video game form of it. And we've done video games based on Munchkin, but we've never done video game Munchkin. And this is video game Munchkin. This is essentially the core game Munchkin done in video game form. It's early access on Steam, which means it's available normally on Steam. You can download it on PC or Mac. It's going to be in early access for at least a month, up to 3 months. It just depends on how long it takes for them to, hone in, get it perfected. And then once it goes into full release, it'll be on Android and iOS. So that'll be sometime next year as an Android and iOS launch. But for now, you can get it on Steam, play it. It's ready to go. And then early access means essentially they're taking player feedback and they're watching how players play the game and looking at stats and stuff like that and seeing how they need to update things.
And
whatnot. It's not exactly a beta, but it's kind of like a beta test.
so it's just the core set, or are we gonna have expansions?
Just a core set. Ben, you're asking the questions I get asked on a daily basis, and I'll say the same thing to you, which
So could I just shut up and let you finish?
No,
your
no,
spiel
it's
and all
fine.
the- All
No,
the
no.
questions will be answered.
no, they won't be answered. That's the actual best part.
Oh.
I don't have that answer, so I don't know.
Anything.
Yeah, that's the big thing. You won't. Yeah, they. I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully, there's a lot of people that wishlisted it on there. We had.
Currently focusing getting the launch of the course.
Yeah, it's in essentially open access, early access right now. So we need to get through that portion. But I mean, if it does well and people enjoy it and it works out, hopefully we get more expansions. So if we have a lot of
Glasses
bunch
are
of.
coming off.
Speaking of expansions, wow, Ben's already getting in there. Speaking of expansions, another thing that just became available today, and this is available in your local game stores or on Warehouse 23, is Munchkin 10 Time Warp. Just launched. So that is the newest numbered expansion. People, pretty much two really big Munchkin releases today. Digital Munchkin, which has been pretty much asked about nonstop since I started working for the company. So that means probably before I started working for the company. And then the newest numbered expansion, which is our numbered expansions are kind of like the cream of the crop when it comes to what people are looking like.
And 9 came out what? And like, it's been almost 10 years since just 9 came
No,
out.
not 10 years. Jurassic Snark came out. That was
Oh, I'm thinking of 8. I'm thinking of the Centaur.
You're thinking of
one.
8, yeah. They don't
Snark is
come
a
out
little
too
more
often.
recently.
A legitimate base set numbered expansions, because we do a lot of stuff that's not numbered. That's like a mini expansion. That's like a side thing here or
See,
there.
where should I be? Because I just realized I'm taking this off camera without realizing it. Actually, need to be scooted over a little bit.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you just moved
It's
completely
just the
out of
right
range.
angle. Where's the correct angle?
I can follow you around a little.
Yeah, we can move.
Oh,
around.
okay.
But yeah, lots of cool bunch of good stuff. Sorry, I know we're doing Car Wars stuff, but I wanted to mention it because we had a lot of new stuff happening all at the same time, right around Black Friday.
Everybody's gonna want to know what's going on with Munchkin. Like, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm excited.
Right.
Well, and that's
Actually,
something.
Chad is asking if it's okay to ask about other games.
Please,
Yeah.
ask
And
away.
I
We
heard a rumor about Wiz War 9th edition.
Is it 9th edition already?
I'm not sure which edition it is.
We are planning a Kickstarter project with Wiz War.
Yeah, it's not a. Yeah, that's not a rumor. We announced that we were doing.
Okay.
Not,
Yeah, I'm
you're
glad.
not-
I thought that was announced too, and then I was like,
yeah. We announced that. We've actually
not
talked
saying
about that
anything if
at
it's
the
still a
last
secret.
the last couple Fedora cons. We showed the box off and stuff. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely something in the works. We're going to be running a Kickstarter for it. We have plans to run it. It's just a lot of projects in one year, a lot of projects in general, and certain things get moved. So I don't know if it'll be by the end of the year like we were hoping, but I don't have the exact time frame for everything. We're definitely not done for the year as far as our projects go. But yeah, that's on its way. Working out production stuff. We like with stuff like that. Obviously the Kickstarter is something we do to try to get things to see how much we need to print, actually get it into production. But we try to do as much tooling and planning and stuff ahead of time, so that we can deliver ahead of schedule if possible, at least on schedule. But we've been ahead of the game on a lot of our projects as far as our estimated time frames, so that has helped us a lot. But yeah, Wiz War, definitely something on the horizon.
Your
So
hand is.
Facebook must know the older Dark Guy is available now.
It is available through the Dice Store now. It's available through the Dice Store, correct. So I believe those are all pre-orders currently.
A lot of those available for pre-orders. Let's see. Get us a link for the Dice Store here.
Yeah, so throw that in the. I got it here if you need it. Here, I'm sending it in chat.
Okay, so hopefully, if you guys are following along, and if Brandon is able to get the camera where my hands are currently,
Your hands are perfect right now, but then every time you go to paint, you move too far.
This is why for years people would, before I started doing this, people would be like, "Ben, you gotta do a paint stream, man." I'd be like, "I don't think I can," because the camera, I can't keep the camera,
That's funny.
and that's exactly what's happening right now.
Maybe we could build
You're doing a good job, Ben.
We see
Why
like,
can't
something that just attaches to your hand.
Well,
Get-
we
get
need
one of those
to
GoPros that's
just
supposed
do
to
the
follow
side
the
cam.
action.
GoPro Hero.
one of those ones that's like supposed to follow the action for sports, but it's just to follow Ben's painting hands wherever he wanders around the table.
The side cams do a pretty good job. We just need to keep it on them because the side cams are the better cams for this anyway. I believe personally.
I've dropped the link to the Dice Store in chat for you guys if you want to go check that out.
All right.
Check those out. Lots of new dice. So we have the new box set of gelatinous. The new gelatinous for those interested. It didn't get the original one. It's got one less set of dice, so it's like one less player, quote unquote, technically, but fits in a tighter box set, and you can actually store it in the box too, so which is kind of nice. Helps us keep the cost down on it because with everything going up in price.
There was
Yeah.
a ton of dice in there in the first place.
It's like 48 dice in the first one or something, some
Oh.
stupid amount.
Chad says we should get him a headband for the GoPro.
That'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
great.
maybe so.
I
I don't
mean,
know how the
I'm
others
actually-
do it.
I'm gonna get a Mavic drone, and I'll just have it hovering around his hands.
Might be a little
Right.
loud.
No, it's
It'd be a
fine.
lot loud.
A
That's
whisper
fine.
drone.
And it definitely won't blow the paint everywhere either.
Right.
It's just gonna be hovering around his hands, just like constantly. Why solve the
Everything
answer
gets a
easily?
splatter paint job.
Why have the easy solution when you can have the cool solution, right? Oh, another cool set of dice. I wanted to mention the brick dice.
Oh yeah.
Brick
That's a
dice.
Steve special. He's a big fan of Legos, so
Oh,
made
that kind of brick dice.
yeah. Also,
Like Brick
fun
House started
fact,
playing in my head.
this may be the last place you're going to be able to get the Illuminati Blackout hat from last Black Friday. I forgot that I had a Daryl throw those up there.
Find a few more of those.
I would
Yeah.
wanna make
What
more
are
of
those? What are those?
Those are the black on black hats that we designed for Black Friday last year with the Eye of the Pyramid. Actually, I really like those hats. I might need to grab one out of the warehouse before they sell them all out. Have the new Christmas games on there, Bad Christmas and 12 Dice. Those have also come out in game stores if you're interested. And it's also the place. Dice store is a good place to get like a lot of the cooler dice sets that have come out recently. It has the past dice store like the Circuit dice and Halloween dice and stuff like that. So really cool. A lot of cool new stuff coming out.
Okay, so what I am doing right now, if you've been watching, hopefully you can see I've added that sort of distinct central highlight down the middle. I'm kind of doing a little bit splotchy to kind of represent, a little semi-distressed metal. If you've got the skills, you can, of course, do a super cleanly blended line, and that'll have like an awesome chrome look to it. And then on the bottom, I'm going in with this mud brown, and that is, since it is a metallic object, it's also going to be reflecting what's underneath. So brown is usually a safe choice just to sort of show off the dirt that's down there on the bottom of the arena. You could also do, a gray, even a red. The traditional, kind of one of the core non-metallic metal techniques, they call it Earth Sky, NMM, Earth Sky non-metallic metal, so blue sky, and then brown earth. And so brown is kind of the traditional, for lack of a better word, color to use on that. And as far as color choices go, I did go with a very saturated blue with these, a lot more saturated than I would normally do on the non-metallic metals, because I knew we were going to be photographing these a lot off the car as well as on the cars for pictures for the Kickstarter, so I really wanted them to just like really pop. And they look good on the cars too. But you can, of course, do a less saturated color. You can do a gray. You can just do a less saturated blue. They all work pretty well. If you get outside of those colors, it tends to look more like a metallic color than a reflection. But that's fine. You can just use this same technique, but use reds and get like a metallic red look. And that can look pretty snazzy too. And if I get done with this one, which it looks like I might go with a slightly different palette and try for a more of a gray, more of a warm gray with a little bit of brown, maybe even a little bit of green in it, instead of this very cool, very saturated blue. So one of the things we were talking about before we started shooting, what other games, and Hunter, you mentioned this a little bit, what other games can you think about using these weapons in? One of the things that I thought, it's not a weapon, but I thought that those big exhausts would look really cool on some Star Wars Legion jet bikes.
Oh yeah.
Because Star Wars is Star Wars. Everybody kind of likes Star Wars. But I had never picked up Star Wars Legion until they came out with like the Scum and Villainy sort of faction. And so bounty hunters and spice runners and stuff, that all seemed, I don't know, just a little bit more interesting than just like a whole bunch of stormtroopers, a whole bunch of rebel troopers. And they have these really cool swoop bikers that I thought those big exhausts might look awesome on, just to add an extra bit of crazy to them.
Very Shadows of the Empire.
Is it that was like a video game, right?
Yeah, they had swoop bikes in that one.
Oh, they did. Okay, is that where
Yeah.
they were from? I thought they were like supposed to represent the crazy biker gang from Solo.
I think it's all the same. I think they're similar designs.
Yeah, it's just
on
kind of like
those.
any like jet bike that doesn't have a stormtrooper on it.
Pretty much. It's
Could
like
be a
it's
swoop
like
bike.
they look more like choppers or something than like
Yeah,
a speeder bike from the Empire or something like that.
yeah. You sit in it sort of reclining rather than
Mhm.
like all forward.
Yeah, I think they had those something similar in the Mandalorian. Those Tusken Raider ones that they had.
Yeah, I'd almost
Similar
forgotten about
Book of
those.
Boba Fett,
Book of
they had
Boba
a
Fett,
bunch
sorry,
of
yeah.
those.
Yeah, Boba, not Mando.
But yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, I had a question actually regarding because you're doing non-metallic metal.
Yeah.
And I know you do a lot of that for like stuff like Ogre and things of that nature in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do any traditional metal or not? I guess not traditional, but real metallic metal or whatever it's called. There's another
True
True
metallics.
metallic.
Usually
That's
what
it.
they
Yeah.
call it. And I
TMM.
do a little bit. Sometimes for commissions they'll want.
They specifically want it like that,
Yeah.
but it's more for if you have a choice in your personal style, you tend to go non-metallic, I assume.
Yeah, and then the other time would be like when I do paint 40K, which it just seems rare and rare these days. I usually go with traditional just because it's faster.
That's fair.
Like
and
doing a
army
whole-
painting's a little bit different than painting up a car or something.
Right, doing a whole 40K army with non-metallic metals seems pretty crazy because it's pretty time consuming.
Yeah, yeah, no, I could understand that. That is pretty crazy.
Like, I mean, because compared to like if you just use true metallics, you can just like dab on metal and throw a wash over it,
Yep,
and it works pretty well.
that's what I'm doing now. I was just curious because I as someone who
Doing
doesn't,
Necrons again.
no, actually, Death Guard.
Oh, that's right.
But I did actually paint some Necrons this past weekend. You're not wrong, I guess. I did some I did some really speed painting. We decided to play a game on Sunday, and I was like, "Oh, I want to have these units for Sunday." And it was Saturday at like 9, and I'm
Oh,
like,
You
I
had
can
your
do
Marvel
this.
Crisis Protocol Sentinel too. That guy probably had some metal.
"That's
That
true."
might be an okay place to put some of these crazy weapons.
Yeah.
You know, really funky looking Sentinel.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of extra Sentinel parts you get with the Sentinel kit. You could throw a bunch of that stuff.
Oh,
in
that's cool. I've been resisting the call of that game for so long. It's like the problem is it's that starter is so affordable in the
Mhm.
world of minis games. But
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
like, no, when are you gonna paint it, dude? When are you gonna paint it? You got other stuff to paint.
It's true. All these weapons. No.
Yeah.
I was just curious about it because the true metallic, the true metallics versus non-metallics. Non-metallics always seems to be the way to go for like competition slash pro, like
Yeah.
Like,
Every once in a while you see some
display
people
painters.
I mean, basically, if you really want to make really impressive true metallic metals, you follow a lot of the same sort of techniques, except instead of your white, that's your like very pure shiny silver, your very pure shiny gold.
You still follow because it's
And
all
then
based on
you-
lighting essentially. So you're
Right.
still following the same guideline.
Right, and then you're shading with you're still shading with non-metallic colors. Excuse me, because the shadow represents the part where it's less reflective. So you want to use an opaque, non-reflective paint for a metallic shadow. And you can blend them. You're going to be blending in those metallic colors with traditional colors as well to blend in the shadows. And you can do some really cool stuff with it. But that's the thing, like dry brushing with standard metallics, it almost gets you what you need just right off the bat. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I was just curious because I know, from what I understand. So this is another going back to the
excuse me, sorry about
the
that.
non-metallic
Promise I'm
metals.
not
Sorry, I
bored.
keep talking about non-metallic metals. I'm always interested in this.
Well, no, it's good.
I've heard it's
what we're
pretty
doing.
hard to master that technique. How do you think it was? Was it hard to get into, like learning?
It was. I mean, the thing is, it's it is the one that stands out for most people because what you are doing when you're painting non-metallic metal is it's like you're making a little miniature three-dimensional painting.
Sure.
Because you are trying to, if you wanted to paint just a painting on a canvas of a sword, you'd be doing the same things that you're doing on this tiny sword.
Volumetric highlights and stuff
Right,
like that.
exactly. You're creating the illusion of light just like you would on a real painting. So that's why it's so difficult, because
It actually takes artistry to do
exactly,
that.
exactly. That's because you have to bring in all the mental skills of the artist. It's more than just those traditional brush strokes, right?
Sure.
It's you got to do all the interpreting. How should the light look? How do I make it look that way? So yeah, it is difficult, but that's all that becomes more and more true. The higher level you get to, those really gorgeous, especially like those big 75 millimeter
Busts and
minis
stuff
that you
like that.
see sometimes. Those look like illustrations out of a fantasy book, because they're taking it so much further than just like, this part's going to be green and we're going to add a little bit of shading. The really great stuff has more colors than you even realize. Like you look at it, I think I've talked about this specifically before on the show. You look at it and your brain just goes like, that looks amazing. And whether it's an orc or like a human, you see green flesh, you see human skin tone, but they actually, the really good painters are working in greens and blues and purples that you're not
Purples in
even
the
thinking
shadows and stuff
about.
like that, blues in the shadows and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because that gives a more natural look. But your eye is just processing as that looks good.
Yeah.
It looks real.
Right. It looks real because,
Yeah.
That's how light behaves.
right.
Yep. That's exactly it.
And then sometimes you'll see like a little bit of blue, more like the snow blue, on
Snow blue's now my least favorite color.
on facial highlights and stuff, especially if it's
Yeah.
like really pale, like kind of like Nordic.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Humanoids.
I mean, same with like pinks and stuff like that, like the kind of different tones and that aren't flesh tones, essentially getting mixed in
Right.
there. Same with like purples. So I just want to mention this is a pretty advanced technique. It looks really cool. If you are not required. We do not have
Yeah.
a clause that says you have to paint them in.
And honestly,
in MM.
I should be a little bit. I did mean at some point to come in and just dry brush some of these just with some metallic paints, because they're
They
still
look
gonna
great.
cool.
Well, it's because they're also they have a lot of cool textures on them and stuff.
I may have, without even meaning to, brought along. Oh, look at that cold steel.
Ooh, still got some
From my old
P3 in there.
P3 stash.
Yeah, we'll throw some cold steel on some of this.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun one because
Do I have
the thing you're looking for with and it works well with Car Wars in general. A lot of our minis have those cool textures and like there's like grills and edges to a lot of them. Some of them are a little smoother, but a lot of them have like jutting out stuff. So when you hit them with that dry brush, it hits those raised areas really well.
Yeah.
And it's even cooler when you have the weapons in isolation because then you can just hit just the weapons and then
So I'm
throw
gonna
them on
do.
there.
Do we know what this guy is? This well, let's get it on the camera. This weapon.
I can't even see it.
This is like a top mounter. I think it might be
Is it one of the
a
turret
Gauss
weapons?
rifle. It's not turreted. It's fixed. It's like a forward-facing single gun. Or I guess you could put it sideways.
We'll see if Gene responds and
But
Jimmy's
yeah, I
looking
don't
at the
know it
vehicle
off the top
guide.
of my head.
Our Bible right now, it feels like.
Yep.
Actually, one might be better.
Oh, this is a fun Car Wars thing that I didn't talk about yet. Steve signed a deal with Three Ravens Publishing, who's going to be writing some new Car Wars fiction. I believe they have a 15-book series planned.
Wow.
Whoa.
Well, it is an expansive world. I
Yeah.
mean, there's years and years of cool lore and stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was really neat.
Man, I'm worried I talked up this melt, because I think this pot, it seems like it. I mean, we were just talking about how I never use traditional metallics.
It's dead. It's
Is that
dead.
one
It's
dry
DOA.
out?
I think it may be a dead pot. There's like a little bit of metal,
That's
but
fair. That's fair. It's from a type of, you don't use a lot of traditional metallics. It's a brand that's out of business now.
it's not out of business. They still make
They still
P3,
do?
man. That was just a dirty rumor.
Is it really? I don't know. I thought it was.
No, it's not true.
My bad. My bad.
And it's still good paint.
Okay.
Now that
You
I've
just can't buy it
gone, now that
anywhere.
I've gone wet palette,
Sorry, they haven't gone out of business. You just can't get it.
now that I've
readily.
gone wet palette, it's just not as easy to use as some of the other stuff.
It's fair.
Also, I clearly forgot how to dry brush, because this does not look dry brush. This is just dead.
It's just he paints it on and it looks like it somehow looks non-metallic metal.
I think it'll be much
The
easier to
studio
just
lights
browse
might
the
be
weapon
doing it.
cards themselves.
Yeah, Jimmy's gotten a full binder of the stuff from the sets.
But it's the I think it's a Gauss rifle, but it has 3 big tubes coming out the back of it. I can't. You'd think I'd remember which car it was from. because I painted it, but I painted like 30. So how many cars? Like 40, 36?
I think there's 40 something in the sets because it's been a while.
So,
Counting
yeah, I'll
wrecks and stuff,
forgive
there's definitely
myself
40.
if
I mean,
they
you're
all kind of go together a little bit in
taking
my
into
head.
account folks that had painted all the cars at some point, and it's been a while since you've had to
It
paint them
has
all too.
been.
So
I
while
think the last one I painted was I can remember the last one I painted, which was Typhoon.
not counting stuff on stream, but
Right.
when he actually had to like go through and paint them for the Kickstarter, it's
Just-
been a long time.
Yeah,
Gene has replied, Gauss Cannon Railgun / Mass Driver.
Mass Driver.
Mass Driver.
Please explain what a mass driver is, because I thought I knew what it was, and now I don't think. that I
It's
know what
another
it
name
is.
for a style of railgun. Basically, you
So,
have a
something
mass
that moves
you fire.
mass really quickly.
Okay.
It's in the railgun family.
I thought it was like a spaceship only weapon that harvested meteors to turn into weapons for orbital bombardment. I thought that's what a mass driver was.
I've
'Cause it
seen the
drives
term
mass
used
at
often
planets.
as a spaceship weapon.
Okay.
So I'm sure in some spaceship universe, that's what it is.
Just grab some passing rocks.
I mean, I think it was
and launch them at
Babylon
people.
5 where they talked about mass drivers being outlawed, and the context made me think that's what they were. That's what they were doing with them.
Basically a rock chucker.
Yeah.
Sci-fi rock chucker.
Well, what's funny, like,
Gene
this was
says-
actually in an old white dwarf. It's actually a real pain in the ass to harvest asteroids to use them as weapons. To just, like, fly around and try to gather them all up. Despite the fact that that's, like, one of the hooks for one of my favorite sci-fi shows, The Expanse. Using asteroids as weapons is actually a big pain in the butt. And if you can get them, it's easier to just use torpedoes, usually.
Well,
If
it's
you
good. It's
plan
better
on
for the
carrying them
environment.
around, yeah.
It's better for the environment.
You use asteroids, man. You use the natural resources.
Right.
That's why I load my
To
gun with
blow up
rocks
a
instead of bullets.
planet.
I believe in The Expanse what they did was they went out to each asteroid and put some kind of propulsion system on it, and then they could
Then he
They could
slung
put
he
'em into
slingshotted
orbit.
them around the sun so
Yeah,
that they were
exactly.
like hyper accelerated.
right.
What was cool was they actually, we didn't know it. I shouldn't make this an Expanse fan stream, but I do love the show.
I've never actually seen The Expanse.
Oh my god, it's the best sci-fi
I-
show
I've
I
ever.
heard
read all the
Period.
books too.
I need to read the books.
Oddly enough, has a really good board game. The Expanse
The
does.
books are
Uh,
great because there's a whole 3 books that they didn't do for the TV show.
Like
Interesting.
people watch, the Star Trek stuff on Paramount Plus, and they're like, sci-fi's dead, and it's like, I haven't watched those because I've been busy watching The Expanse, which rules. Sci-fi is not dead.
Right. Yeah, it's probably one of the best sci-fi shows the past few years.
I mean, I would just put it as the best all time. Full stop. Like, if we have to pick, like, I'm honestly not one for like picking, because there's taste factors in so much, and like there's things that like Deep Space Nine does that The Expanse doesn't, that are cool. And then you have to start asking, like, well, is HBO's The Watchmen a sci-fi show? There's sciencey stuff and it's fiction. Maybe that counts too. And if that's true, what about Loki? So it's really hard to just like,
I wouldn't count those as sci-fi.
I think I would
There's-
count.
they're
I
they're
would
not
count.
space operas,
They're
but
No.
superhero shows.
what about Fringe or the X-Files?
I would probably count Loki as
I would count
sci-fi
Loki as
more
sci- 'cause-
before The Watchmen.
Fringe is definitely a sci-fi show.
The reason I count Loki, it's spoilers notwithstanding, is because it so heavily involves time travel and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's definitely
or like
a
parallel universes.
But,
The sci-fi element is a fixture of the plot, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I guess I would say maybe it should be, for me anyway, The Expanse is the best space opera.
I mean, technically, we're still on topic because Star Wars is sci-fi. So,
There you go.
and it's getting a sci-fi book series, which is a very 80s thing, right? Which is pretty cool, though, in the year of our Lord 2022.
How retro do you think the writers will make it?
I saw the first spec name was called like Burning Roads or something like that, and it had a cool a cool 80s looking graphic on that they had like just for like placeholder stuff. So hopefully it'll be pretty. I think it'll be pretty cool if it was retro-y.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool vibe. I like whenever I share something Star Wars related, the thing that people react to the most is always the rainbow covers and that retro look. So
Yeah.
you know how it is. it's a good look.
Yeah.
It's classic for a reason, right?
It's worked for a long time, and it's kept people interested.
The
for
thing
a
is,
long
there's been
time.
some really nice in the playtest for Car Wars.
Oh yeah, Jimmy. I'm by the way, public apology for Jimmy and Sam and Will and Randy because I still have not replied. I haven't had time all week. I haven't had time since Thanksgiving.
What did you
Look at that.
do, Hunter?
I've just been working. I was working on Thanksgiving and on Friday,
Oh,
and then
I actually did a
just
little
been
work
really
on
busy this
Thanksgiving
week.
too for this, just getting graphics.
Yeah,
because
because
y'all were just like blasting through stretch goals. You didn't
yeah,
care.
everyone's
It was
unlocking
Turkey
stuff,
Day.
right?
Some
Yeah.
marketing guy called me for help getting
I'm
stuff
sorry,
done.
Jimmy. But they sent over a bunch of playtest cards for some upcoming stuff, and I just haven't had a chance to look at it. But Jimmy, fortunately, took the lead and has been looking at stuff. He probably skewed a bunch of it. His feedback was probably like, this needs to kill the slab immediately. I want an anti-slab.
What?
An
What?
anti-slab.
What? No, that's rude.
Exactly. Once
You
he
shouldn't
finally,
you shouldn't skew your meta to just anti-hunter
Exactly.
stuff.
you should actually
you should
be
definitely
pro-hunter in
include
your
it, but
meta.
you shouldn't skew it.
No,
Yeah.
you should be pro hunter and all your stuff. Now that Jimmy knows how strong the slab is on one of the 2x2 maps, he'll never doubt me again.
We're actually talking in Discord, I think last night or today, about someone was asking if positional stuff, if the drop weapons and positional things were that effective in Car Wars. I said, if you're on a open flat 3x3 map, not so much. Occasionally, they're really, really situational. Like if someone's tailgating you at just the right time, yes. But
drop and
once you
rush.
start putting in obstacles and cover and terrain you've got to avoid, and,
I feel
and
like you guys
especially when
should
you
be on
shrink
the
the map
camera.
size.
It's weird because you guys are talking.
No.
We don't have a ton of real
I want to
estate
see
there.
your
Because
minis
it's a
on
painting
camera.
stream, but it's also kind of a talk show. Too.
It is,
okay.
But
We're
you're
taking
the
mirrors.
host. We're like we're the guy that stands
color
behind the
commentary.
podium on Johnny Carson's thing.
Um,
But way worse.
when you say one of the 2-player maps, you mean the mats?
Yeah,
The
so
2x2 maps.
2x2, the city block mats
Okay.
that we did. So that's one thing.
I just wanted to clarify there wasn't some expansion that
No,
I missed
no.
that had like map layouts.
That's always
That
something I
was
want.
all I was
I try to
thinking.
emphasize to people that are playing the game, and it's because sometimes you'll get people that are like, "This game went X amount of time," and I'm like, "How in the world did this game go so long?" And it's because like they were playing like the highest point value, but everyone invested in armor, and they're playing on a big map.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
We all did 45 points. The map. We were playing on a 8-foot by 4-foot table, and there were 3 of
yeah,
us.
like
okay, well,
you need to like scale your game. Honestly, even car wise, it's not as big a deal as scaling the play area to your players. I'm finding so when we play 2-player games now, playing on those 2x2 maps is really fun because it's just so tight.
it's super tight.
It's so it makes it means that you're actually doing maneuvers because when you're playing the 3x3 maps, if you're playing with 4 players, it's about the same to me because you're having to maneuver to get around cars and you're maneuvering around obstacles and stuff like that. Dropped weapons are more effective in those types of scenarios. But if you're only playing 2 players on 3x3s, drop weapons are a lot less effective. It's a lot easier to get around them. You end up going straight a lot more often.
When you go bigger than 3x3, there's
You want
so much space to run
yes
and not
exactly.
be engaged that if someone wants to do that, it's gonna draw it out. They
That's
can run
like the double drum, which is fun. But the way we did the double drum was a better way of doing it, which was separated into 2 smaller games and then join them together towards the end. And once you're all damaged like that, it's less.
And there are some smaller, like the wall choke point and the ways between the two halves.
If you use it as printed, it's a lot. It's a different way of playing, essentially.
So you can do those big spaces, but I don't think that's what you want to call your standard game.
Yeah.
Just because it does take you have to do a lot of
3x3 is still a solid map size for
It is.
two players.
Even if
but I'm
two
having
players,
a lot of fun on 2x2.
I would typically start adding, now that I've had plenty of experience playing, I would probably be almost always adding some sort of terrain or obstacles.
Yes, absolutely adding obstacles because we still play we played less 3x3 maps. Were pretty open, so I think adding obstacles for sure.
Even obstacles that only provide partial or even no cover, but are just hard obstacles.
I mean, speaking of obstacles, that's another thing that we could potentially. I mean, let us know if we're in the comments.
We do have some obstacles and stretch goals.
It's stretch goals, but like as Carnage, this has done really well, like for what we were expecting. I mean, we want all our products to do well, but we've done 3D printable stuff in the past, so we kind of have a benchmark for things, and it's kind of past the benchmark. So, let us know what else kind of things you might want in a Car Wars game. Maybe you have some kind of 3D printable thing in the future that we could do. Who knows?
I want, and it's completely ridiculous. What I want is just like a suspension and 4 giant ass wheels, so you can turn any Hot Wheels car into like a Bigfoot.
I want a.
But I don't think that one will be included.
I want a
for this-
scale
for this
replica
campaign.
of the half of the Statue of Liberty, so I can recreate the end of the Planet of the Apes. with
Hunter,
Star Wars
that
card.
makes my request sound like it was ridiculous.
That's why I said it. So make Ben.
My
sound
request
horrible.
was like pretty cool, and you're making it sound like I was saying something silly, which I was not.
I'm trying to make it sound less ridiculous by
Probably
saying
pretty
something
easy
crazy.
to 3D print part of the Statue of Liberty.
Ben
That's
Jean,
true. That's probably out there already somewhere.
It's true, but I want the auto dual Statue of Liberty.
Ben Jean says she's working on it. She's been studying the
Hell
hubs on
yeah.
monster trucks.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
We're going
All right.
monster trucking around here.
So we've been so busy talking about statues of liberty that
Don't look at me.
I totally skipped over. I have gone back in with some different colors. So I've got some copper, non-metallic metal, and that's just because when you're doing something that's all metal, you want to find a way to get some other kinds of metal in there just to mix it up a little bit. So I've got some copper, and for the copper, and I should have done those other colors. For the copper, I use some dark rust, and then what's kind of cool is if you do want to do a copper, one of the things you can actually highlight with is a skin tone. But for this one, I used, where is it? I put it back in the box for some reason, the dark sand. I feel like the dark sand has come up in some of our other streams. And then you can do a final highlight. I usually use an off-white, and that's ivory. In this case, has a nice sort of has a little nice warmth, nice bit of warmth. And then for this little area, I went with more of a brass. So brass works really well if you start with like a camo color. And look what I have here. It's my camouflage green that I just picked up the other day. And then again, back with the dark sand as a highlight, and then again with the ivory for some more highlights. As for the colors I've been using on the other metal, I've got my marine teal. This is a Reaper color. It's weird. A friend of mine today just like messaged me out of the blue to be like, "Do you like Reaper?" And yes, I do.
Reaper's great paint.
Yeah.
That's another one's kind of hard. It's not stocked in every store.
Right, that's
pretty
the problem. The Reaper shelf is always completely just gone through. There's this like you're lucky if you can find a Reaper shelf with like half the paint left on it. It's always seems like it's in the middle of.
Yeah, they do good. They do. I
Disappearing.
like the way they sell in triads, though.
Yeah, I'm using Reaper black. I've got some Reaper purples as well. But yeah, the marine teal, and that's again highlighted with the ivory.
I did want to mention, because you mentioned Reaper, I was gonna do a quick shout out / condolences to Reaper. They lost Ed Pugh, the founder, over the
I
weekend.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he passed away, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
It's a bummer.
For the shading, I blend that marine teal into a mix of burnt umber and pure black. That's what the wet palette's great for. I just kind of have it over here, and I could blend into it as I need. And then I did show you I was using the mud brown for that reflected light along the bottom. So this one, I think it's almost good to go. I know I always complain about the light in here, but it is a little on the dark side. I can't quite see if it's exactly how I'd want it, but I think it's pretty good. So maybe I can move on. We can try to knock out another one before the stream's over. I want to get a few more on top. So the light's kind of coming down from above, so get something on the top, and we'll call that good for now. And then if I finish this one off, I can make one more car to take pictures of. Oh, look what I did. These match. They're not mirrored, so I can't put it on either side. Oh well. All right. What do you guys think? We've got this big, chunky autocannon gun thing.
Oh yeah.
When I say you guys, that does include Jimmy Hunter and Brandon. I've got. Oh, we already did this one with some metal. That didn't work so hot. We've got a rocket rack.
Ooh, rocket rack.
Rocket rack.
So you either go for the rocket rack or the energy weapon one.
Energy
Okay,
weapon
and
could
yeah,
be
I've got
cool
the
too.
disruptor, which could maybe have some non-metallic metal, or not non-metallic metal.
Do,
some,
do the
some
do
glowy
the
stuff going
do the
on.
energy weapon. That's a different type
Do
of
the energy
weapon.
weapon. Okay. So I'm
I
gonna
reacted to that very childlike. Ooh, energy weapon. Ooh, rocket rack.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna try something a little warmer. So instead of blue, I'm gonna do this green gray.
Jimmy's giving you more
It's a
light,
nice
Ben.
warm gray. Oh, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna blind you with it.
I'm
This is your punishment.
gonna do this green gray instead of the marine teal. But other than that, I think we can keep the rest of the colors about the same. So like the gun barrel, it's kind of made of metallic tubes, so those are going to kind of get the same highlight. For these plates, though, what I'm going to do is start the highlight at the bottom. I don't know why but this is kind of how you get like a metal feel. Is if you have like a plate or a flat surface, you start them light at the bottom, and then you work it up, and that'll usually give you kind of the illusion of metal. I'm not getting nearly enough shading. Maybe I should add a little bit of this umber to darken it. This looks like I'm adding the same color over and over again. All right. Maybe just a little more light around the edge. You see that even though I do use the wet palette, obviously I'm still all over my hand. I don't know why. That's just like the tool to make sure that you have just the right amount of paint on the tip of your brush.
Force of habit.
Force of habit. No, I don't think there's a better tool out there.
I use a paper towel, but sure. sure, whatever works.
And then I'm going to do the same on this one. This is kind of like, I painted a couple of these already, and it's a little bit tricky. I didn't like prep any new pieces for this because I knew I had some that I hadn't gotten to finish painting before the Kickstarter, and I was just like, wait, I already painted all these weapons. How did I not
You picked
have
all
any
weapons
new
that you've
ones?
already painted.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
all of
funny.
these are on one of the graphics somewhere.
That's awesome, though. So people can kind of see some variation to what they've seen on the project.
Yeah, well, for this one anyway. I guess the what did we decide it was? A recoilless rifle. Like,
Mhm.
that actually is the only one that didn't make it because we were about ready to launch that one. We were about ready to launch the Kickstarter right when I was in the middle of painting that one. I was like, okay, well, we've got enough to get some cool graphics, and there's no way I'm going to paint all 80 of these. So
Yeah, y'all did a really good job with that, with the page. You and Gene.
yeah, Gene. The way Gene got roped into doing the whole Kickstarter was Phil was like, does anybody want to help me get a skeleton ready for Monday, and then I can kind of take over the rest? And then she ended up just doing everything.
Oh, Phil. Yeah,
She
Phil got.
found herself on the hook for the whole show.
Phil's been sick lately too.
Well,
and
except
traveling.
now he's in Cancun. So,
Yeah,
but
it's true.
we
You're traveling for the
still,
holiday.
yeah. And of course, he shouldn't be expected to like interrupt his vacation for it. But I just thought it was funny. I am sure when he said that he had nothing but good intentions of like really taking
Phil,
it
y'all
over.
did a
He
great
just
job.
didn't. He just
When
didn't.
he
get to it.
when he didn't, yeah, he didn't have to, right? Y'all
Yeah, that's true.
took the reins and did it.
Yeah, Gene. At least it's partially your fault, at least for just nailing it.
It's a great looking project, and getting a lot of backers. Really happy with it.
Jean has left. She had to get back to working on monster truck wheels.
There you go.
It's fair.
See, she is super busy.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna load it up now. See, we're already over 25,000.
There actually was. Do you remember this? There was a toy in the 80s.
Oh,
I don't think I had one, but I had some friends that did, and it was just basically like a little box with monster truck wheels, and you could put any Hot Wheels car in it. And
Oh,
make
that's
it like
cool.
A monster truck
I think
Hot
I've
Wheels
seen
car.
that. Yeah. So I actually had a there was a set in the 90s. I was big into monster trucks when I was a kid and a teen.
That's unusual, Hunter.
I know, right? But Hot Wheels did this set. It was a Bigfoot, but it was like a motorized Bigfoot, and it was like it wasn't a Hot Wheel size. It was pretty big, and it had just like a lever on the back. You press forward, and it would just go forward. And it had this. It was cool because it had these 2 ramps, and it had these cars that were made out of aluminum foil. So it was like aluminum foil with like car shapes printed on them, like the tops and sides. of the front of the
Aluminum
cars.
foil?
And what it is, they had this mold, this little plastic mold, and you'd put the foil over the top, and then you'd kind of mold it over, and it made like a little 3D shell of a car, and you put them in a row, and he would just crush all the cars. It was the thing.
Nice. It was a mold
That
your
kind
own,
of sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was fun. I used to play with that all the time. I still have those foil cars somewhere.
They must
They're
have made
in
a
box
killing.
somewhere.
Well, I mean, how many crushes were they good for?
I kept them a long time. There were some that were destroyed, and they were definitely wrinkled up pretty bad. What was that? I'm gonna pull that up now. I bet I can find Bigfoot foil because there isn't a lot of that
Well,
foil
was it
cars.
Bigfoot? Did it actually have? Did they actually?
It
get
was
the
Bigfoot
license?
branded, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bigfoot Champions Crunch Arena.
Crunch Arena. That sounds like a Captain Crunch ad campaign, like some kind of, or maybe any cereal.
Was it Hot Wheels? Mattel. Yes, it was Hot Wheels. Yeah. I got it for like Christmas or a birthday or something like that when I was a kid.
Oh, we keep saying Hot Wheels. You can also probably use Matchbox for these. You know, if
Yeah,
we have any
one
Matchbox fans, just
1/64th
Matchbox it
scale.
right up.
So that's the exact set right there. And even had like a cardboard like arena. that
I
you
don't
could
know,
put up.
the stands in the background.
Yeah, those were all. It was all cardboard. You just put them in some holders. But the thing was big. It was a big old Bigfoot. Man, that takes me back. Oh yeah, there was like a. Oh, I recently found that. I didn't even know that. That I recently found that little fence, and I didn't know what it was. What it was too. I forgot. It goes to the arena, and that's the mold. It was a little garage thing. You put the car in, pressed it on top, and it would form it into the car. Those little cars there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
This is weird. I have used this technique before, but I'm just not like feeling it today. It's not coming together the way I want it to. I
It's
don't
real
know
car
what I'm doing
crunching
wrong.
action. You could throw. Heck, I could throw these weapons on Bigfoot Champions Arena, and
There you go.
car crunching action.
As long as it's car crunching action.
Actually, that would be really fun because Hot Wheels does, and I think Monster Jam also, they do a line of 1/64th scale monster trucks. So it's like Hot Wheels scale monster truck, but they're bigger than regular Hot Wheels.
Mhm.
Oh, that'd be fun to customize. I have a Gravedigger in that for 'em. Throw some guns on it.
Yeah.
That's tempting. I have a Bigfoot and a Gravedigger. So okay, I still like monster trucks anyway. What? What?
Are
Shocking.
you kidding?
I also suggested just gluing all the guns together to make some kind of giant robot. For some reason, Hunter got really offended by that.
I didn't get offended. I just thought that was your Statue of Liberty suggestion. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. I guess I am the target. I should have known, like, coming into this, I was the Car Wars target audience because I've just always been into like car crunching action. I remember they used to do back in this is dating me, I guess, but back when they did a Monster Jam at the Astrodome. I used to go to that.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
I'd always-
I always wanted to go. I'd beg my parents, and of course we
Oh my
never
God,
ended up
dude.
going.
So it was awesome. We went to Monster Jam. First off, I was a huge Gravedigger. I was a huge fan of Gravedigger. Bigfoot, obviously every kid liked Bigfoot. And Snakebite. Does anyone remember Snakebite?
No,
It was shaped like a snake's head, and it had a tongue.
I didn't even know that you could like I didn't even think there were fandoms for like the
Oh,
individual.
are you kidding me?
vehicles.
Monster Patrol. It was a.
I just think. I mean, I'm just saying. Like I thought of it all as like, you know,
Like
one
you're
sort
a
of
Monster
phenomenon.
Truck fan.
Yeah.
No. Monster Patrol ruled. Monster Patrol was my favorite. I was.
I mean, was
I-
it kind of like going this kind of like pro wrestling where like
Yeah.
they all
It's
had like
essentially
their
like
own personas and stuff?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was like it's like watching NASCAR, but NASCARs were beating each other up. So Monster Patrol was a truck that had a cool color scheme. It was like green and black and stuff. It had this gigantic fin on the back, and it was a cop car. It had alarms on it, but it wasn't painted like a cop car. It just looked way cooler. That was my favorite. But I remember we went to the Monster Jams, and they would have like that got me into multiple things because they would have a remote control car race beforehand, and I was like, oh, remote control cars, and the monster trucks would come out and it would be like, oh, I want a monster truck. But I remember that because monster trucks are like they're teams of people, but like it depends on your budget, and it's a team of people making a truck,
Right.
and some trucks are definitely better and more funded than others. And I just remember there was always this running joke for literally years of my life, but because there's like freestyle stuff they used to do, but they would have the traditional race where they like out and back essentially do drive out, do a turn, and come back and jump some cars, do some jumps down, and like a drag race but in monster trucks. And there was this one that went called Cyborg. Cyborg's not one that you
Okay.
would see on TV.
No.
If you remember back then, TNT was like kind of like the out like you on TNT you'd see like Monster Jam, you'd see the mud races, mud drags and stuff like that, the tractor pulls and all that kind of stuff. Well, Cyborg I got to see live multiple times. I don't know how it got in there multiple times, but it was in there, and it was the slowest monster truck I've ever seen in my life. It was so funny. It became like my favorite monster truck for no reason. It was an older truck, like
That's definitely something I can remember as a kid. It's just like forming associations with stuff, like super strong associations with
Yes.
stuff for no reason.
yeah. I was already a big fan of stuff, but this like dumpy old because like this was like the early 90s, mid 90s and stuff. I was actually going to them, and it was like Chevy C10s and stuff like that, Ford F-150s back in the day, like the 90s Ford F-150s and the Chevy Silverado C10 type stuff. And this one was like an 80s Dodge. It was
Wow.
rough, and it came out there and it drove rough. It was always knocked out in the first race. Never got past it. I think I saw it 3 times distinctly.
They raced? I just thought they like drove
Yeah.
around and drove over shit.
Well, there is a freestyle segment in Monster Trucks, but there is it's essentially you start, and it depends on the arena, but generally it's like a kind of a there and back. You drive down, you usually do some kind of moguls or some kind of a jump, and then you drive back, and there's another jump. There may be multiple laps, but it's more of a time trial thing. Like you're side by side, you're not like in the same lanes. But yeah, it was a race, and Cyborg did not do it well. Did not do that part well. Didn't
What
do the
did it look
freestyle well
like?
either. Never did anything well.
What about the
Did it do
car
anything
itself
well?
was like cyborgy?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that was like that's the thing, like, and that was the era where they started doing like really thematic trucks, like Monster Patrol looking like a cop car. There was a Boogie Van, which was like the van. It was
Boogie
like,
van?
it was a van that was on a monster truck that was unique about it. There was like unique trucks. It wasn't just like pickup truck on wheels. Snakebite was shaped like a snake, stuff like that. Nowadays that's really common. There's like tons of like they're all cool fiberglass shells, like stuff that looks like a shark or looks like a bull or looks like a dog or whatever nowadays.
That's super awesome. Now I want to go again.
You should look if you go down a toy aisle again related to this stuff. If you guys want some cool cars to customize, maybe that are unique. If you go down a toy aisle, Monster Jam has their own line. Hot Wheels does as well, but Hot Wheels aren't licensed. They're just like their own creation, which is cool too. But Monster Jam has their own line of toys, and those are not just those are like real trucks. That's why they license them. They're just crazy looking. There's like El Toro is a bull with horns, and there's a dog one. I can't remember what it's called.
A
There's
dog
bunch of them.
one?
Yeah, it's like a Dalmatian. It's just like a head.
So it's
just
like
a dog
it's like a
head.
cute
I only
puppy
remember
dog.
seeing
It's
ads
not.
for like the Truckzilla and stuff.
Trucks, yeah, with the robot. Truckzilla, that was at Astrodome. I got to see that. It was
It
pretty
wasn't
cool.
Truckosaurus. It was Truckzilla.
I think it was Trucksaurus, Truckzilla, or something like whatever it's called. The one that picked up cars and
Yeah, bit 'em.
bit them in half. Yeah, it was really rad.
Yeah, I would always. My mom would always tell me, "No, we can't go to that because it's too loud."
It is extremely loud. You have to wear earplugs.
But that was that
It
was
is
the threat.
so
Was like you'll just want to leave immediately because it's so loud.
If you wore earplugs, it was fine. It was fun. I just thought it was hilarious because we were huge Gravedigger fans, me and my brother. Because that again, it was the time when unique cars were starting to be a thing, and that was one of the coolest looking ones. Gravedigger, it has essentially like
It was
necropotence
purple
on
with
the
lots
side
of
it.
art all over
green,
it, right?
green and purple and black and stuff. It looked kind of like the Undertaker's truck. And every single time it raced, and when I got to see it, it would always flip on the first turn, and it never finished a race. It was always like in the lead, and it would just flip, and I'd never get to see it the rest of the night. But I got to see Cyborg. I guess the guy driving Cyborg saw a Gravedigger flip, and he's like, "Well, I'm not making that mistake.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive this thing
Well,
slow and steady, loses the race."
He should learn from our Car Wars matches.
Yeah,
that's a
Ram.
point for Team Cyborg, right?
Yeah, dude. To be
Good
fair,
job. Good
he's
thinking.
he's still in my memory now, so I can't complain that much.
So how's the energy weapon coming along, Ben?
It's coming okay. I think I'm managing to sort of like beat it a little bit more into shape. I was not thrilled about how it was going at first.
I'm gonna throw that energy weapon on Gravedigger.
I am getting out some dark sea blue for the copper shading. I forgot to mention that you can do. I really like the way dark greenish blues or even just dark greens can look to shade copper non-metallics.
Monster truck mode.
Well, I can bring you some. I like I said, Gene printed out a ton of these weapons for the campaign, and I have some spares. You can make that monster truck. You can make your dream come true.
I'll go to Walmart and check out and see what kind of monster trucks we got on tap. Just so I don't have to wreck my own Gravedigger or Bigfoot, I'll get a Cyborg.
Do you think there's any chance there is like any licensed
Absolutely
Cyborg stuff out
zero
there?
chance that Cyborg got merch.
So do you think Cyborg was just like some randos in Houston who just like had just enough money to
it
like
had-
do that?
Like that's what it felt like. As a
Yeah.
kid, you didn't know like how that stuff worked, but as an adult, it's got to be what it was. It was just some
That's the
guy who
vibe.
had it, and it was just that was his. It was more of a hobby versus like a business kind of thing.
So
Looks like there is a more modern Cyborg.
Vargar Corsair says Robosaurus, the guy that built it, also created the nuclear war card game.
Oh,
Are you
wow.
serious? That's so cool.
That's what they say on Twitch.
Yeah, because there's a more modern
Wasn't
Cyborg on
expecting
here,
that.
but this is not the Cyborg that
It could be the same people though. Maybe they.
It could be, but this
made
this
some
this
cash
car
and upgraded.
immediately looks way cooler than the original Cyborg was. So I don't know, man. That seems unlikely. Best part that I just learned right now is that oh no, it was the original Cyborg. Oh my god, that was it. You know, you're right. It is the same Cyborg. Apparently has a lineage.
There you go.
Jack Caberna.
If you're watching Hunters, your
If you're
biggest
watching-
fan.
If you're watching, dude, more power to you. I know you at least went through 2001 because he changed the body to a Ford F-150, and you were. How did I call this? This is memory. 1991 Dodge Ram 2500. So it was a 91 Dodge. It wasn't as old as I thought it was, but I just remember it had that Dodge body. In my head, I was just like, it's got that because 91 Dodges looked like they were straight from the 80s. Like that's what I was remembering. And that thing was slow, man. Fun fact, I just found out there is a Monster Trucks wiki. I shouldn't have been surprised about that. And that Monster Trucks have theme songs. Fun fact,
Oh,
Cyborg's
we
theme
should have
song is
known.
Machine Head by Bush. Can't play it or we'll
Okay.
get the copyright striked. But
Yeah.
incredible.
But now you know.
And speaking of monster trucks, how do you feel about like what was that like the 2017 movie where there were like monsters inside the trucks?
I never saw that one. I
Really?
forgot that came out
That
until you
seems like
just
a
said
total
that right
Hunter
now.
movie. That
That was an
I
animated
need to
one,
watch
right?
that. No, it was live action.
Was it live action?
Yeah, it was weird because it was
I
like
remember when the
it was-
trailer came
there
out.
was
Oh
some
no, it
CG
wasn't.
going
It was CG, is what it was. That's what I was thinking.
well, it wasn't full CG though.
No.
Like,
It was the
critters
monster
were-
was CG. Is what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
well, totally.
No,
It's,
well, yeah. I think what happened. I think I remember when that came out that I thought it was just gonna be. It was trying to be a Transformers type. knockoff,
definitely.
so I didn't watch it. Cyborg was a staple of Monster Jam throughout the early 2000s and in the 90s. Staple. That's a strong
And
word.
In the
In
90s.
the late 20th century.
The late.
Well, for you it was,
90s,
right?
So much. Yeah. So these are like now they have stuff like Jurassic Attack. It looks like a Triceratops. Oh yeah, there used to be a WCW Nitro one that I used to watch when it was on TNT. There was just it was just called the WCW Nitro. There was a Monster Jam video game for the Nintendo 64 that we used to play all the time, and I think that was in there.
That
That's
sounds pretty
true.
cool.
That was a fun game. That one was where I got introduced to car soccer and car hockey, and then Rocket League made it into a separate video game. We used to play soccer with monster trucks all the time. We were playing Rocket League back in like 1999.
And if you're just joining us, these bits we're painting are from the CARnage car weapon Kickstarter that we're running right now. It's for STL files for
Yep.
you can 3D print your own, and it's got there's packages that have all the current Car Wars models from the current Car Wars release sets, the cars with the guns on them and everything as they come. And also there's sets with all the bits, all these weapons separated out, so you can customize your
different
own.
Pledge
packages
levels.
you
It's
can
pledge
get,
levels.
Pledge levels,
So you
yeah.
can do the I want it all. You can get all the STLs for everything. You can do just the cars and wrecks,
And there's some
just
physical
the new
add-ons that are in there as
cars.
well.
Yeah, there are some add-ons that are physical, but the core of it is these are all 3D printable files for you to print yourself or print through a printing service. So you can customize your own vehicles however you like to.
For any tabletop game you
For
want.
if you want or if you want
And of
to
course,
design
once you
your own
got the
monster truck game.
files, you can make
I'm
them
working on the monster
bigger,
truck game now.
or
Hunter.
smaller.
And 4 new Car Wars models.
Oh yeah, these are new minis.
Yep.
There are 4 new ones: the Dagger, the page jump, the Dagger, the Vortex, the Lockjaw, and the Minotaur.
The
And
Minotaur.
if you're interested,
Which looks-
if you missed out and you don't want, you're wanting to get the game itself as well, or you want to get the game before Christmas as a gift, check your local game stores. It is in stores now.
The core sets
If
and
you-
the miniature sets
Yep.
have been released into game
If
stores.
your game store doesn't have it, just ask them.
Yeah, they should be able to
Saves
get
you
it.
on shipping. You can get it, if you get through your game store, you get to, you get it delivered to the store. They usually don't. They're not charging you separate for shipping. They just add their order and bingo bango, you got it.
See, I thought based on the names, the Minotaur was going to be my favorite one, but it looks kind of like the minivan tar.
Hey. Yeah, she just looks like a minivan.
The Lockjaw looks pretty cool, and Dagger's
I like
pretty
the
nice.
dagger because it's got like a it's
I
got
don't
a
think we
weird
got
nose piece.
our hands on
Like Dagger,
actual
I would
printouts of
totally
those
want to
until
paint that like
pretty
a star.
recently.
Oh yeah,
Like that, like it kind of reminds me of the Sinistar face.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you were looking to
Wow,
down
that
on
is
it.
that is I said the words "this ages me," but and we just said
And then now we're talking about
Sinistar reference,
Sinistar.
and we're both like, yes,
Both like, yes,
looks
it
like
should be like-
Sinistar.
I hated that game. I was terrible at it.
Sinistar was one of those ones. Whenever I went
It cost
to
me
an
so many
arcade-
quarters because it looked so cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sinistar was I'd go into an arcade and I'd always think I was getting into like Space Invaders land, but it was always Sinistar. They just for some reason every time I went in it was Sinistar,
It was everywhere for
and
a
it
while.
looked cool, and it was really hard.
Because it made you think like so many directions. You had to like twist. You had to twist and also accelerate. Those were your only 2 controls.
Yep.
And it was really hard to like get your brain to coordinate those properly. Why do I remember this so well? Jeez.
Yeah, we're just suddenly having a
Ridiculous.
Sinistar moment around here. That's gonna be
Yeah.
the theme of my monster truck, the Sinistar.
I've been thinking about arcade games a little bit because I got like a Neo Geo emulator.
Ooh yeah.
Although
Those
the
things are
problem
awesome.
the problem with it is that you can't just get infinite continues. Although it does save, but so I guess you could
Saves
like
have saved my life with that stuff. I finally beat Sunset Riders recently on Switch. Does their Switch arcade thing or whatever, and Sunset Riders is one of my favorite arcade games, and I've never beat.
I
it 'cause
remember
never
that
had enough
one.
Quarters.
It was fun.
Some of my favorite music. Some of my favorite. Just I love Sunset Riders. And I
My
finally
friends
did
would always
Save
want to
State
play that,
Studio.
and I still wanted to play Ninja Turtles because I was like the ultimate Ninja Turtle fanboy.
That sounds the opposite of my life because we had a one with Ninja Turtles and Sunset Riders, and everyone wanted to play Ninja Turtles, and no one wanted to play Sunset Riders with me.
I think because
Or no,
like Sunset
Simpsons.
Riders was just different.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Um,
It's cool. It was a 4-person cabinet. It had guns and stuff. It was really colorful. Had the best line from that first boss you beat that everyone gets through, and he at the end, "Bury me with my money."
Like for whatever reason,
I love that guy.
most
After the
of
stream,
the
we're going to go get some more stretch goals unlocked if we've got any more left.
That's true. I don't know how many are left. I haven't been. I don't have those on me. That's I believe
It's filthy.
Phil has those.
We'll have to plug them because
The stretch
We're-
goal. Well,
we're already we're up through. We've unlocked up through the $23,000 stretch goal. We're at 25 total. I think. But that's the two mine launchers.
Well, Gene is like literally sculpting these as we go.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, these are things that we're not. There are planned stretch goals, but a lot of these
We
are
passed
were
those
in name
a
only.
long time ago.
But it's in name only. We have plans.
Ooh,
It's just
spikes. Lots of spikes.
lots of sculpt stuff. But that's literally what the campaign is paying for is the time that goes into making. this
Yes.
stuff. So it's like we have ideas for stuff, but it's like more like, well, can't we do this? Like, don't spend time on it until we get there. Now it's like, wow, there's that. Well, that's a mix. Where's the slab at?
I got the magenta out to do a nice glow on
Decent.
the
Ooh, nice big
disruptor.
chunky exhaust pipes.
Yeah.
Energy A, flamethrower A, laser B. solid
Spikes.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I need the slab. I'm gonna throw a slab on a monster truck.
Hey, there you go.
I think that's your slab right there.
Yeah. What's just funny? Because there was not. I believe the initial plan.
The slab was not a stretch goal.
It was
It's
not
just-
a
No,
stretch,
it's in-
but
it's
it
in-
wasn't also
you-
in the
you can
original
find
pack.
it.
I remember. I said, "Is there a slab?" And they were like, "No." And then like the next day, it was like, "We've added a slab." I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, I mean, that was there the whole time that I was aware of it. Although I did get
Heck
a
yeah.
printed copy.
Ben is he's team slab. Let's be real.
I like it because it makes no sense.
Excuse me.
Like anything that heavy enough to that you just could just like drop it and it would stop another car just dead. That doesn't make any
It's gonna make
sense.
a lot of sense on the back of my monster truck. Tons of sense. I'm gonna go look.
But that's fine. Like we don't play minis games, especially ones like Car Wars, because it makes sense. That's not why you do it.
I mean, to be fair, we're in a future world where
you do it 'cause
cars are
it's
made of
cool.
plastic.
Yeah, maybe it has like some neutron material.
Speaking of cool, you definitely have to look at the second PDF of not cards that they sent on that email chain.
I just saw that. Yeah,
Not cards.
things that are not.
There are some things in there were not cards.
They're not cards. Yeah,
They're actually.
I saw
like,
this.
There are lots of things that aren't cards.
Yeah.
In fact,
Well, we're
anything that
being
is not a
vague because
card
it's playtest
is not a
material. We're
card.
not supposed to leak it, so we're just very
Oh.
obliquely talking about it. But it's
Jimmy's doing a good job of it.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm not part of this. I don't play test stuff, so I have no idea what to talk about. I can't give you any helpful hints. Like there was a time when when we were all in the office pre-COVID, I probably would have known what they were talking about, but now I really only know what I'm working on.
I can tell you once we turn the cameras off. But no, there's some cool stuff, and I think they did a good job on it and figured out good ways to do some of those things. So it's looking cool.
You think?
Yeah, I feel like they did.
My opinion is.
Yeah. All right.
Is this a whole new game or an expansion for an existing game? Can you tell me that?
Well, it's
Can you
Yeah,
tell?
it's Car Wars related stuff.
Oh, okay.
Related to the
All I remember is this whole topic of conversation got started with Hunter profusely apologizing over and over and over again.
about being in a monster truck.
No, about not getting back to
Oh,
Sam, Will.
I didn't
oh yeah.
profusely apologize over and over. Just one time. Just one solid time.
That's true. I do tend to exaggerate tonally. But you did too, Hunter. All right. We're getting close to the end, I think. Yeah. What other questions? What other things need to be answered? What do we got to throw out there
I
before?
don't think there's
we-
anything.
Do we have any questions about the pieces or the painting of them that people are interested in?
Someone just said snowmobiles.
Not
Snowmobile.
currently.
Ooh,
It's not in the plan.
that
We
would
are-
be a cool bit though. It's just instead of like the ram we have, like a railroad plow style ram. You know,
Plow style round would be a
the
cool bit.
triangular with the curved, the flanged bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, one of the things they said early on when we started coming out with the new Car Wars 6 edition is that this was not going to go the direction that classic Car Wars did to include hovercrafts and boats and helicopters and We're going to stick it as Car Wars. We're
Yeah,
gonna be
we
sticking to
we're starting with that stuff for sure. And it's not to say we won't ever look at other stuff, but like we have talked about doing motorcycles and things like that.
motorcycles are a thing that's in
But
development.
but yeah,
I don't even
it's
think
not,
we have track wheels yet.
now.
yeah, and
And they're
I'm gonna put this out there. I don't know if the future has snow. I'm not joking. I normally would be joking when I make that comment, but I don't know if this world has snow. I thought the whole point, one of the things was like global warming and stuff was a huge issue, and
Well,
I
there
think
could
they
be
ran out
enough
of gas
extreme
before
weather
it
that you
warmed
would
too
see
bad.
it.
that's sure. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm just curious. I don't know
I mean,
what the
but,
lore is.
but why
that.
do treads when you could just mount some flamethrowers on the front of your car
True.
and melt
Also
it?
that.
But I think I think we're still following the same timeline, right? And in
Yeah.
that one, like the world almost fully ran out of gas around 2000 or something.
Yeah, it's all electric and stuff, but that doesn't mean that global warming stopped necessarily. It just meant we didn't have the gas to do it. Maybe. I don't know.
not.
Well, we advanced.
I don't
There
know.
are
the
other
lore.
contributors.
The timeline did get advanced, so I just don't know. I don't know the full lore. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of having those books too. It'll
That
actually
will
flesh out the lore a little bit
more.
more. We'll know a little bit more about the
Chat says speedboats, which actually
no
might
plan.
make more sense.
No plan on speedboats.
There's
Apparently.
no plans for that, but yeah, that would make sense if there was a lot of water.
There's Boat Wars if you want that. We did a pocket box for Boat Wars. I believe we reprinted the pocket box for Boat Wars.
Someone's brought back a joke up for your stream. Hashtag dogs and car wars.
Dog wars. Hashtag dog wars.
It was dogs in cars. It was one of the streams in Fox was.
Yeah, dogs and cars. What was Fox's joke? Magna Beaks.
Oh yeah, that was from Point the Magna Beaks.
Magna Beaks. Every objective was a Magna Beak to her. It's just like, what is it? A magnetic beacon or something like that. It gets attached to your car.
Because Magna Beak sounded cool.
Yes.
Man, I am just like I'm cannot get enough paint into these tiny little gaps to make the glow. Like they just keep drying back into like these dark black holes. It's driving me insane.
I'm gonna give you a 5-minute or on that one, 5-minute warning on this one. Looks like.
Okay.
So again, we've also got the dice pre-order store that is available now. If you're looking to get some of the fancy dice sets we've been talking and showing off over the last couple months, you can get those pre-ordered now. If you're
So
looking for
where
stuff-
is that? Is that like part of Warehouse 23?
No,
If
that's
you
a
go to
it's a
Warehouse
backer kit
23?
pre-order store.
Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty much quarterly.
All right.
Um,
Let's do
we
the
do it a few times a year.
turntable or the still table.
and
I
the
took my
all the
glasses
new
off,
stuff.
so I can't
That's
see the
good.
screen. This one looks a little more steampunky because of that darker, warmer steel I went with. It's kind of yeah. And then I think the brass and the copper adds to that. And then we've got a nice pink glow. I could probably
that's
do
great.
a little more with the glow, but if we're wrapping it up, let's put it out there.
Yeah, you did it in a time.
So yeah, so what did we finish? We finished
Sort of all up there, yeah. Throw some of
finished
the other
these
ones that we
two.
didn't paint up so people can see the different designs.
That
too.
is a spectacular idea. All right, here's the rocket rack I was talking about. Not that we
Nope.
did not
And
paint.
there we.
And I've been calling this thing the autocannon. That needs to forward more. But yeah, you can see it's a big double-barreled affair with a two barrels and a nice big body.
Big body.
Big bod. Big old bod. It's forward. Try not to cover the painted ones. The trick is to not look at the camera and to look at the table.
Look at that camera.
There's the, oh, okay. There's the one that got a little bit of metal on it. And then, because not every weapon has to be gigantic, this is just a twin machine gun. But yeah, those are just 6 of the, 85 that are on there. And I guess it is important to point out that the 85 does include the mirrors, so...
The left version and the right version.
yeah, the left and right versions of the weapons, those are 2. Not one thing. But yeah, it's 85 separate STLs. It's got a slab. It's got big exhausts plus a million guns, and the later stretch goals add some cool battlefield debris like traffic cones,
There's some
oil
There's
barrels.
some Jersey barriers. There's some barrels.
Yep.
There's some cool spikes you can mount on your car if you're looking for that more wastelandy style look.
Yep. Two different varieties, I think. There's just your classic cones, and I think earlier on, before the unlock stretch goals, there was a nice, cool, more varied looking one. Almost kind of like a blade. What else is in there that's super cool? I mean, it's all cool, right?
There's some cool spoilers in there.
The spoilers. Those lasers, of course.
Yeah. I like the like machine gun E. Looks like big old belt fed thing with a big.
Oh yeah, those
canister
are the
on it.
ones. That was actually called for a short while the Goblin machine gun because it comes from the car Goblin. But yeah, it's got some big
Saws.
chain-fed guys. Yeah, two different kinds of saws. One of them looks more like a grinder.
I like the Saw A. Saw B looks like a little more grinder, a little more high tech maybe.
Yep.
Saw A looks like a big old circular saw on an arm.
Multiple varieties of rockets. You've got the more traditional looking ones, like on the rocket rack there. There's
A lot of
little
turret
rockets
mounts.
just like that you can just stick wherever you want. There's these like rectangular rocket
those
launchers.
Turret mounted cannons look really cool.
If it's
Yeah.
something in Car Wars,
The
there's
turrets
good-
are all right. I didn't get a chance to paint any of the turrets either.
There's good odds that it's in here, probably. If it's
And there's
something-
also an empty turret, so any weapon that you want to like fit into the turret, you can just cram into the turret.
Did we do?
into an
This is a
empty turret.
question. Did we do any armor plating?
No, that's a good one. That'd be a good
We should.
stretch goal.
Those would probably be easy ones too. You
Yeah.
just throw some
We've got the slab. I don't
shapes
see any
you can
other.
resize in the STL files and stuff.
Yeah,
like
you
that.
could
like
just have a
plates you
square
could throw on
or a
there.
rectangle with rivets on it,
Yeah, yeah. Might be
or
something to look
maybe
at for a
just
stretch
like
goal.
weld marks.
So yeah, if you have a suggestion or something like that, throw it in the comments below. The Kickstarter's going on until next Wednesday, so
6 days left, I think.
yeah, it's a little while. Got a few days. It's on my birthday. I'm really excited. So
Yay!
the gift will be seeing everyone really happy when they get their STLs. So there you go. Also, again, check out the Munchkin video game drop today. Munchkin 10 hit. Check out the dice store. Check out the warehouse way 3. So lots of stuff going on.
Yep.
Support your local game store if you get a chance. So it's a great time to buy gifts. I guess programming note for upcoming. We've got at least 2 more streams left in the month. Might have a third one. Not sure yet. The timing's a little weird. It's pretty close to Christmas, so we'll see. But planning on doing at least one stream with the Munchkin video game, hopefully. So we'll be
Yeah.
working on that on our
Excuse
side.
me. Sorry.
So,
I'm so full of yawns today.
Looking
Blame
forward to that,
allergies.
and potentially one with with our print on demand guy Stephen Marsh. Either right before, right after Christmas, or right after, talk about some how the print on demand stuff works and all that kind of stuff, and some upcoming things with that. So
The print on demand stuff. Oh, I've done so many of those. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Every place that does it has these very different, very super specific file requirements. Then you
Huh?
have to like reformat it.
There's a-
and
there's
it's
a lot
so
that
easy
goes-
to like. It's basically like you have to put different numbers into like 17 or 18 different boxes as you like reformat it, and if one of them's wrong, then they kick it back to you, and you have to start all over again and figure out what you did.
yeah, a lot. And that's actually a question we get a decent amount. Like, why don't you put XXX and X? It's like because it actually takes man hours to get those things
It
on a
does.
different.
It's
Yeah.
not just send off a PDF.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally not just here's a file.
It
let's
has to
go.
be to their very specific specifications.
Yep, and we've done a good job getting a lot of stuff thanks to Ben and all that GURPS team
Yeah.
for getting all that stuff, because we've had a lot of cool print on demand stuff, a lot of cool stuff that's gotten physical releases that never had a physical release before, which is really cool. So I want to talk to him about that kind of stuff, and we'll see if we can get a game in of the Christmas Munchkin set that I've got. I like trying to get a game.
I'm telling you,
on
man,
stream.
mix
So
all the Munchkins with Munchkin Apocalypse, all the Christmas Munchkins with Munchkin Apocalypse.
Don't
Christmas at Ground Zero.
You're
I
ruining the
like your
sanctity-
inspiration.
You're ruining the sanctity of my Christmas set, Ben.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
the
just.
Munchkinomicon
I
set,
do need
too.
to go to the warehouse to make sure I'm up to date
Oh,
on
yeah,
all my
so
Christmas
Munchkinomicon.
promos. So we'll have to see. I'm pretty sure I am though. So
All right.
cool. That's it. I think that'll be it, guys.
Wait, you could do it with this with just Star Munchkin. It could be like the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
That's fair. I need a Kevin Bacon card.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Anything else? Any other questions from chat?
Looks like we're caught up. So we will see you guys next week.
All right. Yeah. See everybody. Oh, I won't see you guys next week, but everybody else will be here. What are you guys doing again next week?
Next week might be the video game. We'll see if we can get it streaming. By
Oh,
then,
okay. So next week maybe Digital Munchkin.
You might be here next week. I might rope you in and get you playing a game.
That's cool.
We'll
Sounds
see how
good to
it goes.
me.
Probably that or Christmas or something next week.
We'll figure it
Yeah.
out. It's either gonna be Christmas or that. We'll see.
All right. But yeah, have an awesome weekend. Nice to see y'all. Thanks for joining us. And I'll see you when I'm back in next. So long. Thanks again.